What is going on in crypto today? What is happening in the markets? Is the sky just falling? We're about to kind of dive into it. Today is June 22nd. I got blown up today with the messages about what is going on. How low can it possibly go? Brian, I'm buying the dip. How many dips am I supposed to buy before the dips are done dipping? So I want to show you a couple of things. This is a more technical video. Now, everybody listen, if you are brand new or you are an experienced trader, listen, this is probably something that will be valuable to you. I want to show you a little bit behind the curtains, what we're looking at, and I'm going to show you kind of some of the charts that I look at and really what I'm looking at kind of on the charts to really help you better understand what it is that I'm looking at. And then we're going to be putting out several videos about this system I'm using, about TradingView, which is this platform I'm going to be showing you, but it will kind of help you better see what's going on. So first things first, let's kind of take a look at really what the charts look like. This is the charts. This is really what I kind of look at on a daily basis, hourly basis, weekly basis. Anytime I need to know what's going on, this is pretty much what I'm looking at. And I want to show you kind of really what I'm seeing, right? We've had this big run up all year long. Everybody saw crypto earlier in the year, and then it just seemed to explode out of nowhere. And so I wanted to kind of show people when the price falls, I need to show you what happens. Because the price goes up and everybody's rah, rah, rah. They get way too excited. And then the price falls and they feel like, oh no, it's all going to zero. Everything horrible is happening, right? And so let me kind of walk you through a couple of things to help you better understand. This is going to be a great way for you to start to change your thinking and your mindset to help you not get too excited when the price goes up. And it also helps you control your emotions when the price goes down, that it's not that big of a deal. In fact, there's typically a great opportunity. And so let me show you, this is what we're looking at today. As you see right here, really in January, it had this big run up and it came all the way up to this. This is the total market cap that we're looking at. This is literally every crypto under the sun. It's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, it's whatever your favorite thing is, right? I get little texts and messages all the time about something. Hey, have you ever heard of this? Should I invest in this? Listen, nothing I say is ever going to be financial advice. Do your own research. Go learn a little bit more. This is a great place to get a little bit of a foundational education if that's for you. But what we're looking at is a chart that kind of shows us the prices of all of the cryptos combined. And really what we're looking at is we saw this big run up, right? Big run up to the kind of this level right here. And when you see this level, I'll kind of put like a little purple line in here. Well, I say that. I lied. It's a green line. And it just seems to stop. Right? We reached this level and then it kind of just bounced down. And then from there, we went from that level and we went up to another level. What I want to show you is that when it hit this level, you know, this is maybe Bitcoin broke $20,000, for example, and maybe it went up to almost 30,000 and then it fell and people wondered, what in the world happened? Well, if you look in January went up really high, but then all of a sudden it just fell out of the sky, just completely fell. And if I kind of zoom this in a little bit, I can actually show you, I figured this out by measuring it a little bit, by taking this and saying, all right, if I go from the top to bottom, you can see right here a 26% drop. This is an asset that's lost 26% of its value, and it did it in about a month. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Why would we ever invest in something like this? Because it's a trend. It's how this whole thing typically plays out, right? And so what I wanted to show you is that when things fall, it's just part of the pattern until it breaks that pattern. And then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh, we're going to do a new pattern for a while, right? And so once it kind of came out of that big dip, what happens? It ran up real high, came all the way up to this level, and people got very, very excited. Oh my gosh, look how high crypto is. It's going amazing. It's over $40,000. Bitcoin's over $40,000 now. Yay. The total market cap is now $1.7 trillion, meaning that if you added up all the money that people have put into crypto, it would be 1.7 trillion with a T dollars. And then this is in February, right? Yeah, so this is in February. So look at this. If you can see at the bottom, February 21st, all of a sudden it's like we've reached this all-time high. Things are looking really great. But then what happened in February? It came crashing down all the way down to this lowest price level, another 28%. Oh my gosh, how horrible. It must be going to zero, right? We hear this all the time. And so the reason I'm showing you this is to kind of help you better see that we've got kind of this pattern of, you know, February had a big drop, January had a big drop, March had a big drop, April took a big drop too. Wait a minute, are you starting to see a little bit of a trend? And so let's kind of talk about, this isn't even today, this is actually, we'll call this May. In May, when I originally made this chart, this is kind of what I was saying, is that we're in this kind of trend right here where we seem to be angling down. But regardless of all these ups and downs, what we're starting to see, and I'll come back to that, is this strong upward trend, meaning that we started down here and that no matter what the ups and downs did, we seem to be at a higher level, right? We seem to be at this kind of direction. And that's really what we're wanting to see, is consistent growth over time, right? Until it changes direction. So let me kind of zoom in real quick and let me show you something, because I think that what you're going to see is that right here on May 12th, we seem to reach a pretty high point, but then it came crashing down until, I'll say this point over here, right? I'll just go down to the even lower one, 27, although the last one, it got bought back up to basically 26, right? So it lost 26% of its value. From there, it only goes one of two ways. It's either going to go up and we'll go do it all over again, or it might have reached a point to where people in the market said, hey, think about this. This is a psychological thing. The price is pretty high, right? If you had bought some crypto and it went up 1,000,000,000%, wouldn't you think to yourself, this is pretty high. We should probably sell some and make some profit, right? Put some in our own bank account. Well, this is a normal psychological thing for everybody. And so for whatever reason, the market decides, hey, on this day, on May 19th, it's just going to sell off. And so instead of keeping the trend of going up and then falling back 20, 30%, then going up, falling back 20, 30%, so on and so forth, they finally said, you know what? We've reached a pretty strong point. I'm going to go ahead and sell off. And this is what we call consolidation. This is really a sideways movement from here to here that you see it just kind of bounces around, right? And I could even kind of raise it up to here a little bit and see it really bounced around in this little channel, if you will, really trying to decide. This is what indecision in the market looks like. This means a lot of buyers down here are saying, this is too low, it's too cheap, I gotta buy some. This up here is saying, this is too much, we gotta sell it, right? It needs to go lower. And then ultimately it's gonna break out of that and come down here. So where are we today? Where are we today? Let's see if I can find a really fun question mark in here. I'm not finding anything quickly, but we're just going to skip it. I should plan ahead a little bit better. But anyway, imagine a big old question mark right around here. What are we supposed to do in this area? So let me kind of just show you a couple of different things, because again, this is the total market cap, meaning that this is all of the cryptos that are out there. I want to show you, what does this mean for you, right? And I'm going to start by kind of talking about Bitcoin, because really Bitcoin is the majority of the market cap anyway, right? It's not just like 10% is going to be in crypto, in Bitcoin. It's going to be 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, depending on the day, depending on the market. And really what I want to show you is that this is a daily chart. That's what this 1D means. This D right here means daily. And it means that each one of these green or red lines means a day. It's a day of price that has gone up and down. And we all remember this little thing right here, right? We had this big run up from down here at the bottom to up here at the top, and it made 1,800%. And we were all so happy, and most of us forgot to sell, including me. If you've ever heard my story, I did not sell because I didn't know to sell. How was I supposed to know? I just bought it. Everybody on YouTube told me it's going to go to $1 billion. So shouldn't I just hold it? This is what we get for listening to YouTubers, right? We should not be taking financial advice from somebody who tells you something on YouTube. What we should use that for is an educational point to start gaining more and more educational points so we can form our own analysis, form our own due diligence. And so what I want to do is I want to kind of zoom over here a little bit, and I want to show you something really fascinating that happened. Really what we have is we have this this pattern that happens, right? And really with this pattern, what you're going to see is that it kind of goes up and down, up and down, up and down, of course. But what we're really going to see is you really have this point right here, right? Let me click it consistently. What you see is it goes up and then it comes down, and then it goes up all the way to this point, and then it comes down to here-ish, I'll say. And then from here, it goes up one more time and then comes back down, right? So what you're looking at with these, what looks like a little mountaintop logo, is this is what is known as a head and shoulders pattern, okay? A head and shoulders, oh my gosh, I keep clicking it. Okay, this is a head and shoulders pattern. Now, you don't really need to know much about trading, but what you do need to know is that when I talk about a head and shoulders pattern, this is something that tells us that the price could potentially be going down. I'm going to share my opinions on this, but check this out. Basically what happened is the price decided, you know what? I think we're going to go up to here, and I think right here, this level right here, this price of 41,980, as you see on the far right there, I think that price is pretty high. And the whole market said, this is enough, this is too high. Okay, and so what we saw was the whole market agree upon the fact that it's like, look, right here is a pretty high level. We don't want to go any higher than this without at least testing a lower number. And so what happens is it sold off, and it sold all the way down to this level of around I think it's 29,000, which is a 30% drop. And at this level, at around $29,000, guess what happened? People said, it's too cheap. We got to start buying it again, right? And so now you've got a high level where people are saying, hey, we got to sell it. And a lower level where people are saying, we got to start buying it again. And what I want you to see is this. After they tested this lower level, it started running up. And now what you're going to see is kind of a lot of up and down. But ultimately what happened? It got up to these crazy high numbers up here. $64,000 for one Bitcoin. That's a crazy high price, it seems like. And so again, the market sold off and tested down here. And then just like before, it went up and it went down. So here's what I want to show you. As we're looking at consistency here, right? If I was to look at this chart, I can make a very strong argument for the fact that this $42,000 orange line, it tested it once, right? And it went up, and once it came back down, where's it going to test most likely? Well, when it comes down, it's going to retest this lower line. So what we're seeing, so let me see if I can grab I got to draw first. Let me see if I can draw a little circle here. Shape. Where are you, shape? This will work. So what we see is... oh, silliness. There we go. What we see is right there. Let me see if I can make this. That's a little overkill, but you get the idea. What we see right there is this section right here is something that really got tested. You could see it came all the way down to that level, right, of 29,000. And really what that tells us is people are saying 29,000 is really the lowest. We're going to let it go. If it goes lower than this, we're going to buy it and buy it and buy it. And the more we buy it, the more it's going to go up. And that's kind of what this chart is telling us. So it got bought down here, which tells us this is a pretty solid level. We call this support, right? The price came down and it rested on this level as support, and then it bounced back up. And then it goes all the way up, and then when it comes all the way back down, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to test a level of support. It's going to be looking for what level of support can we rest on. And what do we see? We see pretty close to people saying, hey, I'm actually pretty interested in this price right here, this $29,000 price. This is me trying to move a shape on a screen here. And then what we saw is that it's decided to go back up, but ultimately it fell back down. And today, yes, today, we experienced a whole nother drop to what level? Look at that. Can you see how that dotted line kind of connects these two? This seems to be a very solid foundational level. And let me kind of point out what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is, I need an up arrow, not a down arrow. So what I'm saying is this price point of 29,000, it got tested multiple times. And once you test it once, it's like, okay, that's no big deal, right? But once you test it twice, it's saying, all right, we've tried to go below 29 and it still went up, right? So once it comes all the way up and it comes all the way down, guess what happened? Again, we're going to try to test it again. And the market and the buyers are saying, no, man, 29 is plenty cheap. We don't need to go any lower than this. We're going to buy this thing. And then ultimately today, for the fourth time, it tested it again and said, man, we are just fed up with this low price stuff. We really want it to go up. And it is what it is, right? So we've got all these buyers down here. All these buyers are here. All these buyers here, just like anything else. If you tried to break through this support floor, right? Imagine being in a 5-story building. Well, at a certain point, if you break through the floor, you're going to come down to another floor, right? Then you break through that floor, you're come down to another floor. What's happening is at this $29,000 level, people are trying to break through the floor, and they hit through it once and nothing happens, and they hit through it again and nothing happens. So they give up because they're tired, and they're like, fine, we'll go wherever they want us to go. And then ultimately when it comes back down, they hit the floor again and they're trying to break it. It still doesn't break. It's too strong of a floor. And even after going back up, it's coming back down. They're still the sellers are trying to break through that $29,000 floor, and the buyers are just like, no, man, not going to happen. We are standing strong at 29,000. Come at me. You're not taking this level. And what we're seeing here is not only a lot of confirmation that $29,000 is a level that people are saying, hey, this is pretty good. That confirmation reiterates that it's pretty strong. You can only test something so many times before the market's going to be like, all right, we got it. We're not going below 29. Now that is the optimistic case. Let me kind of address the other side of the coin. If you went right now and you Googled the phrase head and shoulders pattern, you're going to find out it is a bearish pattern. Bearish meaning that the price is most likely to go down. See, a lot of times what you see in these patterns is that we're going to test this range here and it's good support. We're going to go up here and we're going to test this. It's going to fall down. If this orange line in the middle, this 41,000, if it doesn't act as support, if it breaks through that floor and goes down to a lower floor, well, then now it's got to come up and break through the ceiling, right? And so we've got to break through this ceiling right here before we can get back up there. And if we don't break above that ceiling, well, then it's going to come down. And we've damaged this floor how many times? We've hit it with a sledgehammer over here. We took a 2x4 right here. We brought, a baseball bat right here. And now we're coming after it with a jackhammer is kind of what the market is saying. And we're saying, look, we've tried to go higher. We can't go higher. We're going to get through this floor. And that's what this head and shoulders pattern is it's a psychological picture of what's happening in the market, right? We've gone up, we've retested some lower levels to just make sure we're at a safe spot here. Then it's gone up even farther. And it said, this is too high, let's try these lower levels. And that's what we're seeing down here. So now that we're trying to break through, that's ultimately what we're seeing. We're seeing the market saying, hey, we are going to go lower than 29,000. Now, I've explained kind of the bullish side, meaning we want the number to go upside, right, for the optimists in the room. And now I've kind of showed you the geometric shapes, the patterns in the chart to show you what would imply that it's a bearish or a negative or a pessimistic view of the market. So what's going to happen? What happens? What's happening to the price with all these other cryptos falling in price? What do we do? How do we know? Well, here's my opinion. There's several other data points that we can look at to kind of figure out, hey, with the prices falling, how many people are buying? Like, are we seeing more and more transactions? And we don't have to go into that today, but this is just my opinion that no matter what we're looking at on the chart, even though this is a negative bearish picture, which is typically meaning the price is going to go below 29,000, I think the price is going to go up. So let me kind of show you the two scenarios for what I think it's going to do. Okay, let me kind of move this over here. And let me zoom in so I can get one more line in here because you need to be able to see a horizontal line. I'm going to do it from this $20,000 mark right over here. Why didn't that work? That's not what I wanted to do. I want a whole line. Give me a whole line. There we go. All right, so now I've got my purple line over here. That purple line, by the way, is what? That's the last all-time high. In 2017, when the price went up to 20 grand, it was like, this is about as high as it's gonna go before it comes crashing down, right? And what do we see over here? We see it kind of test this level again, right? We have to punch through the ceiling and see if we can get through. Well, we damaged it. Let me see if I can zoom in for you really quick. We came up and we tried to punch through it here, right? And we didn't work. We didn't get through it, but we damaged it. A lot of sheetrock fell. A lot of that popcorn ceiling, because that's the kind of environment we were in at the time, that fell. And so the price came down and tested this level and it said, you know what? I'm feeling optimistic. I'm going to go punch through the ceiling. Let's just see if we can really get a fist through there. If we can get a whole hand through there, then I can maybe get my arm and my shoulders and I can work my way up. And look what happened right here. Boom. It just busted right through this ceiling. So this means that this is a pretty strong level of support as well. So I say all that because I want to zoom back out and I want to show you that purple line on the far right over here. It means that if we drop below this orange line, the next massive major resistance is really going to be this $20,000 mark. So if these candles right here, specifically the bottom of the candle, if the bottoms of the candle start to end up below this orange line in the next day or two, which if I can kind of zoom in here, this bottom of the candle right here, or the bottom of this red one, right? If that ends up down in here and you see a whole rectangle down under this orange line, that means we're definitely going south. And we could go all the way down probably to this $20,000 line before we come back up, right? Because this is a pretty solid line, meaning that we'd never gone above this price before. And so that's one scenario, is that we could simply go down. But here's why I think we're going to go up. I think that what we're seeing is and this is a little technical, but here's a great little education piece for you. What you're looking at is really see these little lines, these skinny little lines right here on the edge. These little lines are known as wicks. And these wicks right here that you see are really people buying, and they're people buying at a fast rate. So if this is if the whole thing, if all the green, for example, if all the red is one day and all the green is one day and then all the red is one day, right? What happened in this day, specifically this day over here, is it started right here at the top at 42,000. And then what happened is this little wick that you see at the top, little looks like a candle wick, kind of went up to that level. This is what happened if you watched it live. But then it started coming down. It started coming down. It started coming down. Came all the way down to where this wick stops, right? This $29,000 level. That means that we saw Bitcoin go from $43,000 to $29,000 in one day. I don't know if you remember that day, but I definitely remember that day. And that is a pretty interesting sign. But what happens is when it got to 29,000, it didn't stop because the day wasn't over. And buyers at this level said, we got to buy this back up. And if they just bought it up a little bit, if just there was only a few buyers, well, then the bottom of this candle, this red line, the bottom of the red rectangle, it would be down here. But because it's way up here, this tells you the buyers are this much. There's this many buyers buying Bitcoin at the time. And when you really start to look at all these other little wicks, that's what you see. Well, here's why I think that we are gonna be going up from here. Two things. One, the day ended right here at this level, right at 31,000. The day started again at 31,000. And we sold all the way off the next day, which was yesterday. We sold all the way off down to this $29,000 level, and that's okay. In fact, that's telling us a great opportunity to maybe even buy some. But when you see this wick right here get kind of big, it's telling you there's still just a ton of buyers in this space. And now this candle is going up. I think what we're going to see, and again, this is just my opinion, but I think what we're going to see is a little bit more consolidation, meaning, and this is going to be kind of frustrating, I think, for some people, but just hang in there because this is just a part of the ride, right? I think it's going to go up, and then it's going to go down, and then it's going to go up, and then it's going to go down. But eventually, I think what's going to happen is it's going to break above this 42 line. And once we break above that 42 line, that's really where, well, how many things can I click? That's really where I think we start to climb again and really go north. See, what we're tracking right now that I'm not going to bring up because it's going to just be too many technical things is the number of what we really call strong hands. So strong hands, meaning that these are savvy investors, these are educated investors, these are smart investors who are investing a lot of money at these levels. And when we see not only a lot of buyers at this level, but we see a lot of capital influx at this price point, it tells us that the price is coming down, but guess what? The buyers are coming up. Eventually they're going to meet. And when the buyers are coming up and the price is coming down, once they kind of get closer together, everything kind of starts going up until the sellers start to sell and take their profits, as we saw where? Where do we see that last? We saw that right up here. Wow, what a shape that is. So we saw that right up here, right? And we saw all these people start to take their profits, and then it caused a little bit of sell-off, okay? I'm sitting here showing the wrong screen. I'm sorry, where did we see it? Let me see if I can put that back in. Right in here, right where we saw all these sellers. So this is just my opinion. Again, do your own research, do your own due diligence. But again, my point is that I think we have so much buying pressure at this $29,000 price point that it's been proven so many times that guess what? The price can either go up or it can go down. And there's an argument for both sides. And so what we're watching for, if you want the easiest way to do it, is you want to see the price either stay above 30,000 or stay below 30,000. If it stays below, well, guess what? It's definitely going south. If it stays above, I think it's going to come back up. And once we break this pattern right here of this, what we call what I referred to as the head and shoulder pattern, once we come out of it and we can do like another, like you see right here where it goes up and then it comes back down, now we've changed the pattern. It's no longer going, it's not a steady trend of going up. It's not a steady trend of going down. We've gotten out of this shape. Now we're back in this weird consolidation pattern of just moving sideways. And believe it or not, I think, in my opinion, that this is actually a bullish, optimistic sign for the markets, not a negative sign for the markets. And so we will see, time will tell. We watch it every single day. Some of you might as well, right? But again, our goal here at this channel is specifically to help build your knowledge base, right? Help you find ways to grow your knowledge and ultimately invest in a smarter manner, because the smart money will always take the dumb money or the uneducated money, right? So educate yourself, do the best you can. I hope you learned something. If you did, man, take this link and definitely share it with a friend, right? I thought I'd jump on right now while we have an opportunity. It is late on the 22nd, but hey, you know, it's worth it, right? So let's find ways to build our knowledge, reduce our risk, ultimately go out and build some real wealth using this asset class that's just been handed to us. I hope that's helpful. Hope you learned something. Leave a comment in the section here. I would love to know your thoughts. And if you think I'm wrong, I'd love to hear it. Let's talk about it. Maybe we should make a whole video about your view on things. I'm happy to address any other angle that you think I'm missing here. As always, thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.